Dutton Ranch, Episode 9, Ending Explained in Breakdown. Breakdown Insight. The Dutton Ranch season finale is finally here, and honestly, this might be the strongest episode we've gotten all season. Rip and Beth uncover that Bueller had been using her own cattle to smuggle narcotics across the border, and once they find out, they make it very clear they're not going along with it. We get a major death, an intense shootout, and a cliffhanger that sets up a much darker Season 2. In this video, I'll break down everything that happened, explain the ending, and give you my honest thoughts on the episode. Fair warning, full spoilers ahead. Carter has been getting harder and harder to root for this season, and this episode is where it finally catches up with him. Instead of listening to Beth and Rip when it mattered most, he goes off on his own, planning to run away with Oriana after learning she's pregnant. For most of the season, he's been coasting, drinking outside in the same spot Dwight used to occupy, seemingly content with being nobody, and that's exactly the problem. When you're nobody, nobody's around to save you when things go wrong. Meanwhile, Beth and Rip survive an assassination attempt ordered by Mariano, cartel men sent to eliminate them because they're interfering with an operation that's been running through Temple Ranch for 15 years. Beth and Rip not only survive, they take out the men sent after them. Realizing brute force won't work, Mariano shifts strategy, hit them where it actually hurts, Carter. Carter, true to form, ignores every call from Beth and Rip. Even when Oriana warns him something's wrong, he brushes it off. When Beth finally reaches him and asks where he is, his response is a flat, "It doesn't matter." It's frustrating, selfish behavior, and it's exactly what puts him in danger. Believing the knock at his door is Oriana coming to run away with him, he opens it, and instead gets ambushed and taken by one of Mariano's men, now leverage against Beth and Rip. Beth's fear from earlier in the season and that everything she loves is about to be ripped away starts coming true here. Expect Beth and Rip to go on the offensive next season to get him back. Here's what the finale reveals. Mariano actually took the blame for a murder Bueller committed against Robert. Bueller's father wrongly believed Mariano was responsible, which is why he was exiled to Mexico in the first place. Before leaving, Mariano wanted Juan raised on the ranch and trusted Bueller to look after him. The story that Mariano had died was a cover, meant to keep the real murder buried. It's also around this time that his resentment toward Temple Ranch began. His wife was killed after getting caught up in trouble near the Mexican border. In the previous episode, Juan called Mariano and told him the ranch had been left to Robert, something Mariano never wanted, since he saw Robert as a liability and always believed Juan, the more level-headed son, deserved it instead. As Mariano puts it, Robert's father chose blood over competence. The roots of this mess go back about 15 years, to a drought that nearly bankrupted Temple Ranch. To keep the operation alive, Juan turned to his father and arranged a deal, smuggling narcotics into the country hidden among the cattle. Bueller, however, wanted out. The guilt and pressure became too much, which is why she brought in Beth and Rip, believing they were more capable and trustworthy than Robert. Naturally, Beth and Rip are furious with Bueller for the lie and for dragging them into something this dangerous. Mariano, meanwhile, orders Juan to kill his own brother Robert to remove him as a liability and secure the ranch for himself, while also sending Bueller a message about bringing outsiders into their business. Juan actually goes through with it, which is surprising given that back in Episode 2, Robert taunted him for not having the nerve. When Oriana finds her father's body, she appears to catch a glimpse of the getaway car, a detail that could easily come back to expose Juan later. With his plan to reclaim Beth and Rip's cooperation failing, Mariano sends men after them directly, and again they hold their ground. Rip captures one of the attackers for questioning, but the man refuses to talk, bound by a pact tied to the Saint of Death that protects Mariano's loyalty network. There's a striking moment where Mariano is shown in church denouncing evil, despite clearly being the villain of the story himself. By the end, when Beth gets the call that Carter has been taken, it's obvious what's really happening. Rip sums it up. They don't want Carter, they want us. Beth's response leaves no doubt about where things are headed next season. This was a genuinely strong finale. The tension is present from the very first scene, and the cattle smuggling reveal completely shifts the direction of the show heading into Season 2, especially with Robert now out of the picture. His death didn't come as a huge shock. He never quite carried the presence of a true central villain. What worked well was the confrontation between Robert and Rip, and the quieter scene between Robert and Oriana beforehand, where he admits he wasn't the father he should have been and tells her she's the one part of the ranch that isn't corrupted. At least he got a meaningful final moment. Bueller's reaction to finding him is telling too. It suggests we might see a shift in her character going forward. Carter, on the other hand, remains the weakest link. It's hard to understand why he keeps shutting out Beth and Rip after everything they've done for him. All they needed was his location, and that alone might have kept him safe. And the fact that he's willing to run off with Oriana, someone who previously abandoned him, makes the decision feel even more misguided. The shootout itself was well done, genuine tension, real stakes, and a moment where it looked like Carter might not make it out. This episode also gave us Rip at his best, fully embodying that hardened cowboy energy. And Beth continues to show a softer, more protective side compared to her Yellowstone persona, especially in how she treats Carter. Everett also stood out this episode. His willingness to walk away from Bueller over her involvement in the smuggling operation showed real conviction, but the standout performance has to be Mariano. With just one episode to establish himself as the season's true antagonist, he delivers, cold, calculating, and clearly driven by years of resentment toward a family that once discarded him. The ending does echo a familiar genre trope, but there's enough of a distinct spin on it that it doesn't feel like a direct copy. Overall, Dutton Ranch exceeded my expectations as a continuation of the Yellowstone universe. I'd love to see a longer episode count next season. The performances, setting, and character arcs all earned it. That's the full breakdown of Dutton Ranch Episode 9. Let me know your thoughts in the comments, and I'll see you for Season 2 coverage.